helps transform your business, right? So the way I see it, there are basically four pillars on the how of how Microsoft Contact Center can help that business, right? So the first one being that omni-channel experience. So customers expect to move between voice, chat, email, and digital seamlessly. And service teams, they need teams to really have that one consistent way to support them all and a unified workspace that helps, reduce swivel chair work and improves continuity throughout. The second is that ability to empowering agents and teams, right? So this is where AI becomes very, very practical, helping agents with guidance, summaries, and next best actions so they can ramp faster and feel less burned out down the stretch while still delivering that personalized support to those clients, to those customers. Third is that intelligent efficiency at a scale, right? So automation and smarter routing to reduce handle time, improve consistency throughout, and help those organizations scale without scaling headcount at the same time. So keeping their headcount low, but being able to service more clients and more customers at the same time. And then that fourth is that actionable customer intelligence, right? So when CRM data, analytics, and sentiment come together, every interaction becomes a source of insight, not just a ticket to close, right? So that's how leaders in industries can start spotting trends, reducing repeat issues, and improving their outcomes and customer outcomes over time, right? So with that, we just briefly touched on a high level of how Contact Center can help transform your business. What we're going to showcase to you guys now is a real life business case of how Contact Center helped transform the business of Guardian Security Services. And for that, I'll pass it over to Hannah quickly to kind of dive into that story though. So Hannah, feel free to take it away here.
Thanks, Sam. So a bit about who we are at Guardian Security. We are a security and life safety company. So we predominantly install burglar alarm systems, fire alarm systems, access control panels, and really do video surveillance as well as annual fire alarm inspections for both residential and commercial clients, predominantly in Washington, but also throughout the nation as well. So with what we do, it was really important to us to be focusing on how we can improve our customer experience. We want to make sure our customers have trust both in us, but also in the systems that we're installing, given the life safety nature of these systems. So that's really where Dynamics came in. If Sam, you can go to the next slide.
Certainly.
Some of the issues that we were experiencing with our previous contact center that was really driving this change was frequent outages, loss of information between systems as people were taking manual notes in our customer profiles separate from where the calls were coming in, leading to lots of inefficiencies about what was actually happening on those calls or the full spectrum of what the customer request was. And then one of the other drivers that we were looking to solve in the new system was how can we get robust reporting surrounding our contact center? How can we get reports on what our customers are experiencing, the issues they're experiencing, the transfer rates between different teams, and really looking at how we can streamline that whole process. And for us, that's really where Dynamics came in. Like one of the biggest wins for us was being able to see the customer profile and have the call and all the recordings and the actions taken of it in one visible step. We wanted to make sure that whatever solution we were doing it wasn't just the new system, wasn't just a highlight of a more modern system, but how can we get a customer hub where all calls, all emails, all interactions were recorded in one spot to let teams work from the same page. And so with that, by having that unified customer view, we were able to kind of have calls route faster with fewer transfers and better resolution times too. Customers didn't have to worry about, are they going to the right department to get their question service and then be transferred back? Now, whether they get to the right department or not from the jump, we have reps who can pull up our knowledge base articles, ask questions real time, and really start to guide customers through that process with fewer transfers in general. And also because we were able to have everyone working from the same page, we were able to really standardize our operations. So rather than having teams, specialized teams based off a branch because of how our previous system was, we're now able to have one team, regardless of branch, able to service all customers. And then the other big one was the AI-driven productivity and making sure that we have our knowledge base articles actually accessible to reps without having to do that swivel chair that Sam was mentioning, back and forth between systems. They can pull it up right there real time, get the customer's questions addressed, or pass it along. And then one last thing I do want to touch on that I do think is a little unique to us, but was really helpful in this process is we were able to implement a technician only line. So this means that while technicians are out on site, they can call in to us and get that real-time support and troubleshooting for like specific panel support, panel troubleshooting or specific equipment, and have that escalated view that was separate from the customers. So that way we're able to support customers both while our technicians are out on site, but also just in general with whatever questions that they actually had. So going to like the real benefits, similar to that centralized hub of we can see the whole picture of what's happening on that customer accounts, what jobs are in that account, what reps have been quoting for that account, any bill inquiries on that, and we're able to answer that without having to go back and forth, and also making sure that our teams are having streamlined messaging to our customers regardless of having to go inside team chats and be like, hey, do you know what's going on with this customer account? They're saying this. There's no he said, she said about the account. It's all recorded there in the notes, in the timeline, and searchable for everybody. So that was a huge win for us in that process standardization. So going on to like what's next for our roadmap is that increased workload visibility. We'll be looking at how we can transition our shared mailboxes into tickets. So that way we can get, we have a better idea of like what each rep's workload allocation is, and also making sure that no customer requests are falling through the tracks through automated notifications of like, hey, our SLA has been breached for this, and then the rep can follow up, the managers can follow up, and that will be a huge goal for us. And then the next is just really building on our knowledge base articles. How can we make sure that our SOPs are comprehensive? It's been really helpful that the system can suggest new articles to put in if our previous SOP stack is not sufficient. And it's also been helpful for a huge cultural shift and giving people more ownership of like how we can improve our customer experience. The reps are not just answering questions with what information is available to them, but they're able to submit knowledge base articles, for approval that can then be made accessible to other people throughout the company. And then the last thing that we'll really want to focus on in our next stage of the contact center is how can we customize our reporting to give managers better insights or more direct insights on like what their reps are doing, their workload, which reps might need more specialized coaching, which reps are doing great, and we can highlight in our own company. And then also leadership too, to see how our teams are interacting with each other and where our processes might need to be changing or where we can standardize them down the line. Yeah. And then so as for our experience with Imperium, I have to say it's been really, really great to work with a team that's been so collaborative throughout this entire process. Coming into it, there was definitely some requirements that we weren't fully aware of when we went, or gaps in what we really wanted our new solution to look like. And Imperium throughout every step of the way has been really, really collaborative and working with us about, we could do this, but we might want to do this. Where do your guys' priorities lie? And us really figuring out what the best solution is together.
Yeah, that's great. And really appreciate you saying all that, Hannah. It was really great working with your team as well. So it's the mutually respected there. So really appreciate you obviously taking the time here and walking us through that process. So what we want to do here now is pass it over to Priyanka from the Microsoft side, and she's going to kind of walk us through the Microsoft perspective of contact center, as well as kind of where they're headed with contact center and some roadmaps there. So Priyanka, I'll pass it over to you, and the stage is yours.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sam. Yeah, let's talk about why exactly Microsoft and why exactly Microsoft Dynamics 365. We definitely want to ground you all into the fact as what exactly do we offer and why do we differentiate from any other offering in the market. And this is just a slide to talk about the evolution of requirements in the customer service industry. Like if you think about customer service, like we have grown from a phase where we started from you would have these numbers on products and services like, hey, if you have a problem, call this number, and then slowly getting into, okay, send an email, and then you'd be addressed over email. And now we are in a phase where in the past few years, we have changed such a huge shift of focus from everybody that they want to reach out to customer service from wherever they are. That means I should be able to connect to them from SMS. I should be able to connect to them from Facebook or any other social channel, WhatsApp. If I'm calling somebody, I don't want to stay on the phone for longer. I really don't have time to stay that longer on the phone. You have all these expectations which have risen from the customer side. Side who's addressing all these need to have a stable application in place to actually address that. But as we have grown from that phase of calling and emailing to what is needed today, like companies have just stacked software. They had a software for creating cases, a software to handle emails, another software to handle calls and SMS. And that is what we are tackling with our platform, where Sam, if we move ahead to the next slide, that is what we are tackling with our platform, where we are addressing all these demands in one single platform. So you have that core customer service element where, we still address the basic stuff, where, we still have a good amount of end users who want to send emails and just call. They might not be going through other channels. We have that. But on top of that, we're enabling you through different channels as well. So as you can see in this diagram, like you have all these channels that you can enable on the platform. Now, when we enable all these channels, like from a customer service group, like you have these customer service agents, right? We don't want to differentiate the experience for them. Like if somebody is calling and somebody is emailing, and if somebody is messaging you from Facebook, you don't want them to go into different products or different UIs to actually address them. So the platform provides them a single UI, So we are also providing that single UI experience. And as you heard from Hannah, that view of, just understanding your customer, that customer 360, or if you can call it account 360, just having a single view of knowing who am I talking to, is very helpful for both ends. Like as a consumer, if I'm calling a company and, like I'm just talking, I'm ranting about my issue, and then they keep asking me questions, and I'll be like, man, I just told you about this like 5 minutes ago and you're just asking me again. So we are cutting through all those issues to provide that positive customer experience. The platform has been well developed to actually address those scenarios. So some of the key highlights from this slide I'll call out is like sentiment analysis, like analyzing how the sentiment is going through the conversation, understanding the intention of the person. Like if you're handling like 50 different types of issues, like for Hannah's company, I'm sure they have like all these different types of issues, and everybody calls with a different kind of issues. So there might be agents who specialize in certain kind of issues, right? So you don't want the call to be going, like if a customer is calling, the call to be going through multiple departments. You want it to reach to the right person. So the platform also enables you to do that. And we have a field service side as well. So for companies who actually have a segment of operation where you have people on the field, I'm sure Hannah's team, and correct me, Hannah, but I'm sure your team, like you have a field service team, like which goes on the field to actually address the customer at their location, home, or any buildings and anything. So that is also that something works with the entire setup, like somebody calling from phone, like, hey, my security system is not working. Seems like this camera is glitching. Actually, one of my camera is glitching at this point. So, somebody will call you, email you back, but somebody has to visit you as well, right? So the whole circle, the whole starting from you calling to somebody coming to your home and addressing it and closing that issue will be addressed on the same platform.
Yep.
Let's move to next slide.
Alrighty.
Yeah, this is just something I wanted to highlight because like I said, we are growing with how the customer expectation is changing. So we are doing a lot of development on our platform where we are focusing on enabling, like I am just highlighting some of the top feature names here, like saying experience, like supervisor experiences, voice and digital messaging. By this, I just wanted to say like we are working hard into enabling this for every type of consumer. Like if somebody, like we are enabling the system to be able to recognize different languages. Like even if your customer service agent is like does not speak anything other than English, but the consumer, like the customer speaks a different language, the platform should be able to understand and support you through that. So those are some of the minor things, but it matters a lot in terms of customer experience. So we are working on that and developing the platform. Let's go next. Yeah, this
Ooh,
this is a fun one. So
yes.
now we actually talk about whenever we talk about these transformations, we actually talk about Microsoft first. Microsoft is the customer zero over here. Microsoft itself, like we have these stories even on the sales side. Like we have a similar story on the sales side as how our own Microsoft sales system evolved with the product. So similarly, our Microsoft support system evolved with Dynamics 365 as well. I actually I did not get this intro up front. Like I have been at Microsoft more than 12 years at this point. I actually started on the customer support side. And trust me, we had to go on different platforms, different I had to open. If I have to look for some more information, I have to go somewhere else, get access for it. You know, it just used to take a lot of time for me to just resolve a particular issue for a customer. So we ourselves have grown a lot from what you see in 2019 to what we are today. So we are uh, enabling ourselves with the product as well and are kind of a proof point for everyone.
Yes.
Awesome. That's
And then there's some differentiators as well.
Yeah, just wanted to ground again everybody on the fact when you think about like there are multiple contact center offerings on the market, multiple companies who are offering customer service today, but we do bring our differentiation over here. Like you would think, why Microsoft for a customer service system, for center system, right? There are other benefits. It's not just the product itself. It's just not just the feature itself. Like if you compare our product to any product, other product in the market, and you start comparing feature wise, you'll find like 70 to 80% it's pretty much the same. Then you have to look for the differentiation. So the Microsoft platform brings a lot of benefits in terms of like single unified platform. You know, if you are invested in any other parts of the Microsoft platform, you can leverage that, you know, and the cost savings and faster time to value. And the biggest thing I want to call out is the security, privacy, and compliance. That is huge. With the way we are evolving and AI is taking the center stage, it's very important to think about security, privacy, governance as well. So Microsoft platform actually enables you on all of those fronts. So
Certainly.
with that, I'm
Yep.
gonna pause, Sam. I said a lot of things, so I'll give it back to you.
That was perfect. Thanks so much for sharing your perspective. Well, and later in the webinar too, we'll dive into some of these differentiators at a little bigger lens here, but we just wanted to hear the Microsoft perspective. But Priyanka, that was phenomenal. Thank you so much for sharing in the time today. So what we're going to go ahead and move towards now, team, is a live demo of Contact Center and the abilities. And for that, we're going to go give it to William and Sarah, and William's going to grab the screen, which he already has. So thanks for that, William. And yeah, well, floor is yours. We'll show the live demo here.
Thank you. So, just to preface this is kind of like what we demoed for Guardian, and it's loosely, what we're seeing today is loosely going to be based on Guardian, but just to be clear, it's not their actual system as well. So there will be some nuances in there, but overall the crux is there of what we showed them overall. Now, to begin with, we can see here that the main benefits we've seen for several of these roles with the solution include, you know, for marketing, for example, improved marketing efficacy and ROI, higher quality leads, and better pipeline health. For sales, we're looking at increased win rate, higher deal sizes, and faster times to close, and improved seller productivity. And so overall, I'll get into more of the benefits on the next slide as well, but specific to the demo and the solution we proposed, we saw 3 of the main roles benefit. We have the customer who's now facing faster answers via chat and knowledge, having seamless escalation without repetition, and clearer resolution and follow through. As for the agent who's going to be doing most of the work here, he's going to see full customer and sales context instantly. Say when a call comes through or when a chat gets escalated, he has that context already. He's able to automatically have those auto-created cases with interaction history, so nothing's lost, as well as have knowledge and AI guidance all in real time. As for the supervisors, we're looking at live monitoring and quality evaluation, clear reporting and operational control, and at the end of the demo, I'll showcase some dashboards to see how the supervisors are able to now at a glance view whatever's going on at any given point. Now, to sort of outline what we'll be showing in the demo itself, we'll begin with the customer. We've given each fictional name so you can better follow along, but the customer calls in to dispute an invoice using AI-powered IVR. And her call is then routed accurately to an agent called Mike with full context and history where he's able to resolve the billing dispute in one unified workspace so that you don't have to switch platforms or systems. Then we'll see the customer use a chatbot on a different page to try and resolve a duplicate invoice issue. And we'll see how that chat gets escalated back to the agent and how they can sort of resolve that and create a case for her for downstream resolution. And at the very end, as I mentioned, we're going to touch on some of those dashboards and KPIs that supervisors are now able to track performance with. So before we dive into it, the first scenario we're going to show has to do with an inbound call where a customer disputes an invoice. And the main challenges that we're addressing here include long wait times for troubleshoot related inquiries, members being frustrated with complex self-service menus, as well as the solutions to address these include AI-powered IVR. So we're using that to provide a personalized self-service options, as well as sentiment analysis, intelligent routing to prioritize urgent cases, and giving the live agent full interaction history and AI suggested responses so that he can, better assist the customer. And the benefits we're looking at overall include faster resolution, reduced call handling time, and enhanced member satisfaction. Similarly, the next feature we're about to see is that unified agent workspace with full context. I'll show more of this later when we dive into the live demo itself. But in general, we're addressing challenges of current agents having to toggle between systems, and that takes a lot of time, and they have limited visibility into prior interactions, and repeating questions increases handle time. So our solutions to use this unified workspace to show things such as the call, the transcript and history, the contacts record, interaction history, etc. Everything's in one interface, so the agent doesn't have to switch around. The overall benefits here are quite clear. We're looking at shorter handle times, reduced agent effort, and more consistent resolutions. So with that said, we can go ahead and dive into our actual demo where I'm going to open up the customer service workspace first and foremost. But before doing all of that, I'm going to take out my own mobile phone and actually turn off my noise suppression on my mic so we can all hear this, but I'm going to act as the client who's going to call into the customer service workspace now. So just put this on speaker. And I'm going to press 1 when it prompts me. I think it heard me say press 1, so let me restart the call.
Hello, and thank you for calling Guardian Customer Support. To speak to customer service, press 1. To speak to the billing team, press 2. To speak to data...
I've just pressed 1, and shortly we'll be redirected.
You're next in line.
All right, let me turn off my speakers now. And we can see back to the agent's perspective in the customer service workspace, a voice call request on the top right come in. We can already see my name populated in this pop-up because it has my contact on record. But as the agent, I can now go ahead and click on accept and give that a few seconds to load up. Right, so shortly, we can see now several things pop up immediately on the agent's screen. On the left-hand side, we have what's called the communication panel. In here, we have several options as the agent. For example, I'm able to transfer the call if I need to. I'm able to invite a supervisor to help consult this call if needed. I can mute, hold, do all those basic functions. And most importantly, I can pause recordings or the transcript. But if you notice, the transcript here is live and it's bidirectional. The transcription captures everything that's being talked about. One thing I did want to highlight is we have this thing, currently it says neutral, it's called sentiment analysis, and that essentially tracks the language and tone of what the client's saying, and whether it's good or bad, it updates dynamically. So let's say, for example, I'm going to mute myself on the agent's end now, and as the customer, I might say something like, "Hi, I'm calling in today to dispute an invoice." You can see the bidirectional transcription go through. And apart from the communication panel in the center of our screen, we can see several things automatically populated. So we might notice first and foremost that we have the customer's information over here, as well as the customer details. In the middle, we have case details where I'll showcase in our second scenario how we're able to go ahead and create a new case directly from within this workspace. Underneath, we have related site addresses, as well as recent cases associated to this contact and this conversation. Similarly, we have related documents, products, and again, keep in mind what we're seeing is further customizable as well based on your exact needs. But in general, on the right side, we have this timeline section that keeps track of all past interactions with this specific contact as well. And so this way, nothing is lost and everything's all in one place. Over on the right-hand side, we have Copilot right now open, obviously, but at the very bottom, we have this book icon for knowledge search, which actually allows the agent within the same workspace to, let's say, search through knowledge articles for FAQs, to use that in assisting them in resolving whatever the customer's issues may be, all while being on the call in the workspace without having to hang up and switch systems. So to showcase that sentiment analysis piece now, say as the customer, I was really happy with this experience, I might say something like, I'm very happy with today's customer service experience. Just like that, we see the sentiment now update to being slightly positive because something was tracked in the conversation to indicate a positive reaction. In any case, I will show more on the whole case creation piece and escalation in our next scenario. So I'm going to go ahead now and actually end this call, close out of this workspace, and come back to our slides. All right. Coming back to our slides, before we got into the next part of our live demo, I did have a quick few slides to go through about what we're about to see. First one is AI chatbot with seamless escalation. In this case, we're showing a scenario where the customer sees a duplicate remote support charge on her invoice, and she, instead of phoning in, goes on a website. In this case, we've made this example Guardian security website and accesses the chatbot, and she basically asks it for answers, and when it provides an answer, she'll say she's not satisfied, and we'll see how that then gets escalated to the agent within that customer service workspace we just saw. In any case, we're addressing the challenges with members struggling to find quick answers for concerns, repetitive queries overwhelming agents, and escalations losing prior conversation context. And the solution we're using to address this, as I mentioned, is that AI chatbot to retrieve account data instantly and seamless escalation to a live agent. The benefits are clear here: 24/7 support, faster resolution, and improved customer satisfaction. And to finish, as for the supervisors, we're going to showcase some reporting insights that they're able to now access. And this really helps address challenges with agents currently overusing broad dispositions like general questions, which skews data. Manual reporting is time-consuming and error-prone, especially for audits or compliance, and overall, leadership's lacking visibility into customer issues and call center effectiveness. And so in any case, our solutions to have these custom dashboards and automated reports simplify compliance tracking and give supervisors a real-time view of what's going on at any given point without the need to go digging through raw data themselves. The benefits include improved visibility and compliance, better customer satisfaction, and building executive confidence in the contact center's efficiency and data integrity. So we can go ahead, come back to our system. In this case, I have pulled up in this new tab an example portal that we've created when we demoed to Guardian, as well as on the bottom right, back to the perspective of the customer, there's this chat icon where I can go ahead and now enter some information. I'll use my own since I'm doing this presentation. And once I've submit all of that, I can go ahead now and access the chatbot. And I have a prompt already prepared here, but let's say I'm going to ask it why I'm seeing a duplicate remote support charge on my invoice. Quite instantly, the chatbot responds with common reasons that may have happened. And as the customer, I might read through this whole thing and say I'm not satisfied with this answer. all I have to do from here is click on not satisfied. And what happens is we'll switch back to our workspace. And first and foremost, we can see a pop-up as the agent that sentiment has decreased from this interaction. And that's because a client said they were not satisfied with something. So I can go ahead and monitor that as a supervisor if I wanted to. But for now, let's say I were to click on dismiss. As the agent, I'm able to immediately see this incoming chat request from the visitor on the chatbot side. So I'll click on accept now and let that populate for a second. But essentially, when the screen refreshes, the same thing should happen. Oh, there we go. And we're able to see first and foremost the full history of what's already been discussed between the chatbot and the customer, as well as beneath that we have, as the agent, they can see a conversation summary conveniently provided by Copilot, which summarizes everything that's already been discussed so that they don't have to go read everything line by line. Now, from here, I'm able to type messages as well. Let's say I type something like hello. As the customer on their end, they can now see that they've been connected to the agent. His name's William, who says hello. And as the customer, I might say, hi, I'm wondering why I am seeing a duplicate remote support charge. And so, say, can you help me with this? And similarly, over on the agent's end, they can see the customer's message come through. Now, one thing I wanted to crucially mention is, once more, we have the conversation panel over here in the middle, where we can see things such as the related site address, related documents, product-related services and products, orders, etc. That's all further customizable. But as the agent, let's say I wanted to create a new case, all I would have to do here is click on the plus new case button from within the same interface. And shortly, what's going to happen is we can see in blue, Copilot's gone ahead using AI and transcript of our whole conversation, gone ahead and suggested what I should fill out in some of these fields. For example, for type, it's selected question, and to each, all I have to do is click on the check mark if I accept the suggested insight as the agent. So I'll say yes, that's good. And for the customer, I'll fill that out. As for the title, the AI's gone ahead and called it the duplicate remote support charge on invoice request. And I'll say yes to confirm that. So this saves the agent a lot of time to have to go fill out these fields themselves. The AI is able to, based on the transcript, fill these things out automatically. Now, once I, as the agent, am done filling that out, I can go ahead and click on save and close and have that case now generated. We see the screen refresh, and in our case section, we see that newly added case populate into the fields. So with all of that said, that does conclude what I did want to show in terms of the chat escalation portion of our demo. And the final piece that we wanted to show for this part has to do with the dashboards, which I can go into now. On the left-hand sidebar, if I click into the Omnichannel Historical Analytics tab, so let me close out this chat. I'm able to now come back here, open the dashboard up, and once that loads, we can view several things as the supervisors. So keep in mind that these KPIs and metrics are further customizable to exactly what people want to see. But in any case, we see for here, total conversations, bot deflection rates, bot escalation rates. This is all made to be fully interactive as well. So I can, let's say, change which queue, and I can see the rest of the KPIs update dynamically based on what I'm filtering for and selecting. And as the supervisors, this just helps them get a really straightforward view of what's going on at any given point. So we can come back to our slides now and sort of recap in this slide the benefits that we saw in terms of the customer, ease of communication and quicker resolutions. The agent now has faster response times and overall improved efficiency, as well as a supervisor gaining more of that operational oversight. So with that said, I'd love to pass it back to you, Sam.
Yep, I can grab the screen shortly here. Thanks so much, William, for running that through the team. And quickly, before I jump into closing or some parts here, just Priyanka, we put together this roadmap focus slide for a contact center. And if you want to just touch on this very briefly, then we'll jump into some other portions here.
For sure. Yeah, this we just wanted to highlight a little bit on some of the recent feature changes that you'll see on the platform in upcoming months. And we felt it was key to highlight because a contact center is a platform which keeps evolving based on consumer needs. So we are bringing a lot of feature sets on the platform to, make it more comfortable for our consumers to connect with us. Like you might see some of the examples over here, like easy transfer, noise suppression, understanding multiple languages, so we are bringing those smaller feature changes, which will actually make a huge difference when we connect to all different types of consumers.
Beautiful. And it really does make a big difference for that. So thank you so much, Priyanka, for going over that for us here. What I want to go to ahead now is dive into some different industry use cases and how contact center can really kind of highlight some of those and what you can really utilize those use cases in, right? So with this, for many organizations, what they struggle with commonly here, right, is utilizing fragmented customer interactions and across multiple channels, right? Overworked agents and high turnover and disconnected CRM, ERP systems are all common occurrences that happen often when it comes to different organizations, different struggle with. So what I wanted to highlight here are some business use cases and business outcomes that I wanted to cover, right? So in healthcare and care teams, the priority mostly is speed, right? So speed, consistency, and trust. So patients expect quick answers, agents need full context immediately, and compliance can't be compromised, right? So AI helps surface the right information in the moment so care teams can focus on the person instead of the system, right? So with healthcare, that's what it's all about. More focused on the person and solving the issue than we are in the system. We always want to make sure the system is up and running and doing its job there. In retail and retail consumer facing environments, it's all about volume and efficiency, right? So you're handling returns, order questions, and peak demand. So intelligent self-service combined with that AI assisted agents help really resolve issues simply and fastly while ensuring that more complex requests get, routed to the right team without friction. And then in the professional services and financial services industries, consistency and visibility is what really, really matters there. So these organizations need secure, compliant interactions and a really clear view into the customer history, sentiment, and outcomes, right? So having everything in one place helps teams resolve issues faster while maintaining trust and governance throughout, which is really, really key within those industries. And then in manufacturing and, oil and gas, kind of what Priyanka touched on earlier, these challenges are a little bit different, but the support is often tied to equipment, incidents, and partners, right? So intelligent routing and interaction with the ERP and the field service systems, right? So having those members in the field, ability to connection with the contact center there is a must. And really just get the right specialists involved quickly, especially when issues are super time sensitive there. And then lastly, in the public sector and large enterprises, scalability is super, super critical, whether it's workforce support, citizen services, or crisis response organizations. Everyone needs a platform that they can scale rapidly on without sacrificing security and experience there. So the big takeaway from this slide that I wanted to gain is that, necessarily you don't need different tools or different industries. All you really need is a unified AI-enabled contact center that adapts to your businesses and your business processes and within your customers, right? Without adding too much complexity. And that's, how organizations deliver better experiences at scale for your customers and within your teams as well. Moving forward here, want to look at the competitive comparison. So kind of wanted to dig a little deeper into what Priyanka touched on earlier about Microsoft's competitive comparison and how it relates to different solutions in similar industries and similar solutions out there, right? So with that being said, typically Microsoft versus other CCaaS systems, what's different, right? So there's that integration, the AI time to value, that TCO, and that full security and compliance, right? So when you compare Microsoft to typical standalone CCaaS vendor, the biggest difference is that full platform story. So first, I want to touch on the platform integration here. So Microsoft Contact Center approach is natively tied into Dynamics 365, Teams, and Azure, and then M365 as well, meaning identity, security, and the data model can be unified instead of stitched together. So what that means, in contrast to other standalone platforms, often require more connectors, more vendor coordination, and more integration work, just more headaches in general for people. Second, there is that AI and Copilot capability. So the value isn't just that AI exists, right? It's where it shows up in your daily workflows, whether it's agent assistance, summaries, insight, and automation that's directly embedded in the experience rather than bolted on and added on, right? You're getting that AI directly embedded within your contact center. Third is that time to value. So when you use tools like familiar tools like Teams or Dynamics and leverage its built-in workflows and templates, organizations, it helps them move faster and reduce adoption friction throughout. Right. Fourth is that total cost of ownership. So a major driver for many customers is reducing that vendor sprawl, like I touched on earlier. So fewer disconnected products, fewer duplicated licenses, and less overhead overall to maintain integration throughout. So again, less headaches, just that one seamless platform for everybody to work off of. And then lastly, really important here is that security and compliance. So Microsoft's approach extends governance and security across the broader business platform, not just the contact center layer, which becomes, as important as data and AI and channels continue to expand, right? So the simple takeaway here is that of a Microsoft differentiator is that Microsoft doesn't just connect silos, right? It helps them be eliminated throughout, which makes the transformation more sustainable over time and helps really grow that foundation of great customer service and great connection within your teams and your clients and customers as well. So with that being said, everybody, that is what we had prepared for you today on the slides and in the demos with the team. What we want to do now is open it up to any questions that you guys might have had throughout the demo, what we showcased in the demo, what we showcased on the slide. So feel free to ask any questions there. You can drop them in the chat or come off mute, but happy to answer any questions that there are within the audience here. And we'll give a couple of time for questions. And if there aren't any, no biggie there. Okay. Well, I think if there are no questions, no worries. We can go ahead and wrap this up. I really, really appreciate everybody's coordination and ability to come on today. What we can do is, I did record this, so this is at your disposal. Being in the meeting, and there's some information that we can always send out in our contact center too, which team members will be reaching out shortly with. But really, really appreciate everybody's time and energy towards the demo or the webinar today. And hope you guys found it very informative and enjoyed learning more about contact center and the Guardian story. So appreciate everybody's time and thanks again.
Thank you so much, Sam, for hosting this. Thank you, everyone.
Absolutely. Bye, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone. And thank you, Hannah, especially.
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you, Hannah.
guys.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you for
All right.
sharing. For sure.
Bye, guys.